Alistair here with Alistair's Garage, and what is on the menu for today? Well, we're serving spaghetti. That's right. We're going to be tearing into the wiring on the old Jeep Grand Wagoneer. So let's get started. All right, so we got our work cut out for ourselves today. The wiring is a mess underneath the hood of this Wagoneer. Partially due to my fault because I hacked into it a little bit, changing some things, and I just had to kind of clobble it crudely together enough to get it running and driving onto the trailer when I was moving across country. So it's time to fix this mess, and we're going to do some updates to it. First off, we're going to upgrade the ignition, which I already kind of did, but I need to wire it more, again, more clean and sano, because I'm all about neatness when it comes to wiring and loom and where it's routed and everything. So we're going to clean all that up. I got an MSD ignition box in this now with MSD distributor and MSD coil. So we did away with the original DuraSpark box that comes in these. And if you know anything about Wagoneers and full-size Jeeps, or just even Fords, because this is a Ford part, you know, AMC takes parts out of everyone's parts bins was their go-to. Um, these are prone to fail, and this one was working on the Jeep, but I decided to do away with it and go with the MSD. Well, honestly, because I had it off a parts vehicle, and I ended up with a brand new MSD distributor, so why not? Let's upgrade the system, right? With that nice new engine, well, refreshed engine. So we're going to do away with this and go with the MSD box. Like I said, I already kind of wired it in half-assed, but we're going to clean it up and make it all pretty and route it correctly. Um, then on top of it, we're going to add a relay box to the Jeep, put it over there in the corner on the passenger side, and I'm going to tie the headlights and fog lights into this box. Kind of like one of those kits you buy off Amazon when you upgrade your headlights to LEDs and whatnot to kind of, you know, help take the load off the switch, which is common to do. Same kind of concept. The only thing is I'm just pretty much building my own kit in a sense, doing it custom. Because, well, I like this relay box. It was only like 30 bucks off Amazon, and it comes with all the terminals and everything. And there's fuses in this box as well, spots for fuses, so you can have your relays and fuses all in one box with this guy here, which is pretty neat. On top of it, it has 6 spots. So even though I'm only really going to use 3 out of the 6 relays and fuses, it has openings for future accessories that might need a relay or a fuse. Like if I decide to put an electric fan on this thing, I already have an empty spot where I can tap to this guy. Again, keeping everything all in one setup instead of having relays all over the place. And of course, I'll have some nice junction blocks here that come from the battery to here to tie into the fuse block or the relay block. So just kind of clean everything up, keep all the accessories again off the battery, because one of my pet peeves, and I hate seeing it, is when you open up a hood and somebody's added, you know, fog lights, radiator fans, you know, or a bunch of accessories, which is all good, it's awesome, but it's all tapped into the top of those battery posts, and it's just a spaghetti nightmare. I hate that. I like to keep it nice and clean where there's only maybe 2 big wires going to each battery post, and then have one of those junction blocks to tee off of, and then it's all nice and neat and sano. So that's what we're going to do with that. So not only do we have that to do, just kind of, again, cleaning up some wiring. Going to make some special brackets, because what's common on these 360 AMC full-size Jeeps is they did come with little brackets to keep on the passenger side the harness, the wiring harness up off the engine, but they go missing over years or they break, and then they kind of just sit there on top of the valve cover. And what ultimately usually happens is it creeps its way down and falls on the exhaust manifold and then melts away. and then you got a melted wiring harness. So we're going to make sure that's all clean and up and tidy. And going to upgrade the battery cables too and the grounds because, again, these things have weak electrical systems, inadequate from the factory, really. So I like to upgrade, well, with really any rig that I work on. I like some big beefy battery cables, like some 2-gauge battery cables for your starter and for your grounds and whatnot, your main ground to the battery, just to make sure, I like going overkill. Rather be overkill than underkill. So that's all that's on the plate for today. So let's get started. All right, guys, first up on the agenda is we are getting rid of the door spark in place of the MSD box. Now, we need to wire this thing in. The nice thing about the MSD boxes is they have a wiring diagram on the bottom side. And of course, if you buy one brand new, it'll have the wiring diagram in the instructions. Now, what is a wiring diagram? Well, for those of you that don't know what a wiring diagram is, it essentially shows you where the wires go to and colors of the wires. Here is the wiring diagrams for the vehicle this is for the 1984 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. So consider it a road map because it shows you where the wires go, where all the components are in the vehicle, and of course, like I said, the color. And right now we're going to be concentrating on the ignition side of things because with this MSD box, we need to know a couple of things right off the top of the bat to wire it in. We need, of course, constant 12 volts, so that means battery voltage, which is pretty convenient because it'll show you. It actually recommends tying straight to the battery for that wire. It will be a big, I think it's like a 12-gauge wire on the harness for this MSD box because this will come with a harness that plugs in with the proper connector and everything. But the biggest thing we need to figure out is for the switched 12-volt source because we need it to be, meaning when you turn the key, you get 12 volts, and you turn the key, you don't, because of course when you turn the truck off, you want to make sure this powers off so it kills the vehicle. Not only does it need to be switched, but it also needs to be 12 volts in run position, meaning when you, start position, meaning when you turn the key to the start position, it has 12 volts while it's cranking. So cranking 12 volts. All right, so I'm going to have you zoom in here now, and I'll show you on the wiring diagram what wire we're going to go for. All right, guys. So first on the agenda is wiring in the new MSD box. Now, nice thing about the MSD boxes is they come with a wiring diagram on the bottom side of the box to show you where all the wires on the harness are supposed to go to. If you buy a new one of these, it should be in the instructions, not destructions, in the instructions as well to go off of. So, looking at the MSD box first off, you'll see you got two red wires. You have a heavy red wire that goes to the battery, and then you have a smaller red wire that goes to 12 volt switched source. All right. And that's going to be your biggest concern right now because the battery source is kind of easy to do. You just got to run that wire up to the battery or a junction block to the battery. It's got to be a clean 12 volt source though. So back to the 12 volt switched source that we need to worry about. Now, if you think about our door spark box here, this has a 12 volt switched source, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 12 volt switch source for the door spark box. So how do we figure out which wire that is though? Because if you look at the box, you got 6 wires. You got a connector with 4 wires here, and you got a connector with 2 wires here. So that's when comes into play wiring diagram. This is the wiring diagram for the ignition side of my 84 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. And here is this door spark box right here. So consider this a roadmap for the vehicle, right? Because it shows you every component and every wiring, all the wiring and the colors. So we're going to look at this door spark box I'm going to follow the wires that go to this box and figure out which one is the 12-volt switch source. So if we follow this 4-plug connector right here, 4-wire connector, if we follow that, we see 3 of the wires go to the distributor. So that's definitely not it. And the other wire runs up to the coil. So we definitely don't have to worry about that guy. So what about that 2-wire connector, which is right here? So we follow the 1 blue wire, and that goes up to the ignition switch. But if you look at the ignition switch, which is right here, it tells you all the accessories and when you switch where it directs the power. That one only gets power at the start position, not at the run position. So that means you'll only get 12 volts to the box when you have the key in the crank position. And as soon as you let go of that key back to the run position, it won't have 12 volts going to the box. So that wire is definitely a no-go. We don't want that wire because we need 12 volts at cranking and in run position at all times. So we look at this red wire here, followed it up there, and it goes to ignition switch as well. And if we look at the switch, it actually has power at cranking and in the run position. So that's the wire we want. We want to stick with that red wire. Now, you can test this too with the wiring, with the connector and everything still in, with a multimeter. You just switch it to DCV, plug your terminals in, and then you can have a friend crank if you want, or if you do have a remote start, and make sure it has 12 volts in run position and while it's cranking. It's a good way to check, just to double check. All right, so that's the wire we're going to take. Now, you can do one of two things. You can, of course, we're going to connect that connector, or cut that connector off, and get rid of that blue wire. I'll probably cap it off with a crimp connector, or you can electrical tape it. Just make sure you protect the end of that cut off wire where it's not going to arc off on anything, and I'll probably tuck it back into the wiring loom. Out of sight, out of mind. So we don't need that blue wire. This red wire, though, you can do one of two things with it to connect it to the MSD box. You can use a weather packed connector, which I like using a lot. It's nice, so you can disconnect it if need be, really easy instead of having to cut the wire. Or what I'm going to do, since this is a nice 12 volt switched source to tap into for future accessories too underneath the hood, I'm going to actually take a what you call another little junction block here, which is just a 1 stud, 1/4 inch diameter stud, and I'm going to put a ring terminal on that wire and hunker it down with this bolt. So that'll be a nice 12 volt switched source for future endeavors if I need it. And then we'll just take a ring connector on the harness for the MSD box that'll fit this stud, and crimp that onto the harness for the MSD box and bolt it right to that, fasten it right down there with that connector, and that should be just fine. All right, so again, always double check with your multimeter, make sure it is for sure, even though you looked at the wiring diagram. Just another little, peace of mind. I already did that quite a while ago, and it is to confirm it, and it is a switch 12 volt source and 12 volts at cranking. So enough of talking about wire diagrams, let's go to work. All right, so we got a few things to discuss and figure out. So originally from the factory, of course, Durspark box is right here. We got a soup can, vacuum canister. I call it soup can because it looks like a soup can right here. And then the servo for the cruise control sits right here. Now, so with all that being said, we got to figure out where we're going to put the MSD box, right? Now, of course, somebody, not me, but somebody actually removed the servo and just happened to cut the connectors for the damn cruise control. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. So meaning I'm going to take the soup can and get rid of it because that soup can was only holding vacuum for the cruise control, so don't need it. And of course, we're eliminating the DuraSpark box. So that gives us lots of room right here, real estate for adding the MSD box. Now I could put it on the passenger side close to the battery, but I'm gonna actually put it on this side since I have plenty of room to work with, and that gives me more room over there to put the other junction block and relay box over on that side. Plus that wire that we're talking about, the red wire for the switch 12 volt source is right here. I already have that junction block kind of just loosely connected to it. And there's that blue wire I was telling you about. So we're just going to cut that like I already did, and then I'll find a little crimp end to crimp it so that doesn't arc on anything. So the MSD box I'm going to put right here because it's a nice flat surface, so I really like that. And this guy, I think I'm going to bolt right here. I already drew a couple spots right here, a couple spots to drill. So that's going to be screwed right there. And then with the MSD box here, the harness side for the MSD box, that 12 switched wire will go right to the terminal there. And it'll be perfect. And then I'll put a little boot over it just to protect it too. But then I got a nice little 12 volt switched source here, like I said, for other accessories too, if I need to piggyback off of that. And it's a clean 12 volts ignition switch source too. Like I said, I verified it with the meter a long time ago. So now with I've said all of that, time to start drilling. Come here, you buggers. Perfect. Alright, now let's see if I get my hand down here. Let's see this damn thing. I'm just using the little sheet metal Phillips screws that this came with. I might change it to something else later on. Something a little bit better. I got a bunch of nut certs and whatnot. I might do something like that. But for the time being of mocking stuff up and whatnot, I'm just going to use what came. The screws it came with. In all reality, this might probably be just fine enough to use. We'll see. Ouch. Perfect. Now, if you order a new MSD box, I believe the little vibration resistant rubber grommets come with it that are supposed to go underneath it. This box, when I took it off the parts sheet, had these on it. So I pulled them, I kept them, I put them in a safe spot. Guess what? Throughout the move, I can't find them. I've gone through all my stuff like 3 times looking for the dang little things. I know I had 2 sets of these. Could not find them. So I went on Amazon and I actually found some for a lot cheaper than buying the MSD ones. Are they going to be as good as the MSD ones? I don't know. I mean, these were like, I think, $11 versus $27 for the MSD official ones. So we're going to try them out. So we are going to figure out the best spot to put this, which I think will be right there. And I'm going to take my handy dandy marker here and see if I can make a couple marks here. Maybe. Oh no, of course not. It's not deep enough. Hang on one second. Well, can't seem to find anything. Can't find a marker that's going to work. So I'm just going to attempt to drill it out using it as a guide. Well, bugger. Way too fast. Usually, like I said, usually I like to mark these instead of doing this way. That way you get the right holes and everything, or aligned right. And there goes the dang light. But this is working. Good, it's working. Well, it worked better if I could find my punches too, but I'm still looking. I gotta unpack stuff still. Stuff's still packed up from the move. And I'm being lazy about it, which is probably not the smartest thing to do. All right. So we got our holes drilled out. Of course, the drill bit. Whoop, that's not the right one. Got a little off on this one here, but it will work. All right, so I got a metric step bit actually, and we are going to bring it to number 7. The reason why I'm using a metric step bit is because the nut certs I'm going to use are metric because these guys I can only find in a 5 millimeter, which was the closest thing to number 10, which is what usually comes with the MSD grommets. Let's see here. One more. Ouch. Oh my goodness gracious. That's perfect. It's like it was meant to be. Let's see. It's gonna be close. I think it'll be close enough. Oh, maybe I gotta go one more. What do I do with my drill? There you go. Yeah. All right. I'll be back. Let me do the rest of these and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the holes drilled. I shot them with some black Rust-Oleum paint just because, you could see bare metal after I drilled the holes and just wanted to try to prevent as much rust as I can. And we got the nutsert tool here. I got the nutsert installed. You can see I already did one right here in this hole. And I like installing these nutserts for items that I'm doing in the engine compartment, especially when it's on inner fenders and whatnot, because it's such a pain in the butt when if you just were to you could just use a nut on the backside of the inner fender on the inside, but and then you gotta reach underneath, hold that as you're up here trying to screw in, and keep it all. It's just so much easier doing it this way because then you don't have to deal with that, you know, that and the awkwardness of the angle, the dangle, and all that fun stuff. So. All right, so now I'm screwing in all these little vibrate resistant rubber grommets with the thread inserts for the box. And now it's just a matter of screwing this guy in. Once I find what I did with my Allen. Oh, that's right. Forgot. Need the short screws, not the long ones. Nope. I had to make another Harvard store trip because I bought the wrong size screws. The ones I bought originally were just a tad bit too long. And I probably will go back and buy some lock washers for these just to be safe. Oh man, gone forever. Uh-oh. The question is what did I do with those screws? I found them. Take this guy back out. Don't mind me, just dropping everything. Like usual. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's not drop this guy into. You want in there, bud? Come on. what gives. Oh, of course. One is just a hair bit off. That's okay. We'll get it. We will get it. Luckily, the rubber, so can manipulate it just a bit. There she is. One MSD box. Check. There it is installed. Side view. So not too bad of a location, you know? It seems pretty sturdy. Here's the connector for it. Which plugs in just like so. Now we just got to deal with all the wiring for this. But we're looking good. Looking good. All right, so I found my clippers I was looking for. Took me a while. So now we're going to put a ring terminal on the switch to ignition source. All right, got my heat gun, got my brand new extension cord plugged into it. We'll see if I melt the thing. Hopefully not. There was a sale at Walmart for all the extension cords that are green for Christmas. So I capitalized on that. I got a really 14, I think it's like a 14 gauge 25-foot extension cord for like $2. We'll see if it holds up. Come on. There we go. Looks like I got her. All right, so that guy's done. Now that I got my handy dandy heat gun, let's see if I can shrink this heat shrink down here that I've been meaning to do without melting other looms and wires down here. I'm gonna lose that lock portion. Come on, baby. Come on. Behave yourself. Well, not that head. Come on, you. Good grief. Oh, almost lost it. Wow, that was close. All right, come on. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, how am I going to get in there and not melt shit that I don't want melted? Yeah, that's what happens. That was high. Step 6 dash A, melt your finger in the process as well. 10 out of 10 feels good. All right, good enough. Whew. Nothing like the smell of burning rubber and burning flesh. Let's see. That is going to have to do. So now, can't forget that I got to take care of that blue wire down there too. Oh, don't do that yet. not the lock washer yet. This guy. My little guy for the... Yeah, I probably could have made that wire shorter, but you know what? Rather it be a little extra long than not long enough, because don't need to be adding wire to it. And there we go. So I just kind of got loose there right now. So there she is. So again, that's coming out of the bulkhead connector on the firewall. There is that big thick red, it's like a 10 gauge, I believe, 10 gauge wire, which is again switched 12 volts. Come into here to this junction block, and now this junction block will be switched 12 volts that we can tap onto other things if need be. And there's a wire for the MSD box. Perfect. Well, unfortunately, that's going to have to do it for this video. I was hoping to get further along in this video, but I'm going to cut it short right now and post it because, well, I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm getting ready to fly out to Chicago tomorrow to see our oldest graduate boot camp, naval base. So very proud of him. Can't wait to see him. So gotta cut it short here because I need time to edit this and post this. But yeah, we got a lot more work to do. Next, when I get back to Oregon here, we'll jump back on this and we'll continue with the wiring. Now we gotta clean up all this wiring and finish connecting this, routing the wires for the MSD box to the coil and the trigger and all that fun stuff. Also gotta finish the other side with the relay box and all the wiring. Like I said, we're gonna be wiring the headlights to this guy. So we're gonna need a high beam and a low beam relay, and then I'll be wiring in the fog light relay into this as well. So we'll be doing that on the pass-through side, as well as making beefy battery cables and all that fun stuff. And like I said, making the brackets for keeping that wiring harness off of the engine, making sure it doesn't fall into the exhaust manifold like they tend to do in these Pioneers. Also, stay tuned because when I get back, we are going, my friend Donovan and I, sorry, I got something in my throat. When I get back, my friend Donovan and I, we're going to go pick up 2 Wagoneers that have been sitting for about 10 years. And one has a bad motor, the other one has a good motor, but was wrecked. So we're going to try to make 2 good ones out of one. So stay tuned for that. I'll post the video once we get it over here and show you guys what's going on with that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And if you have any questions of anything I've said in this video, whether it's constructive criticism or you just want to be a jerk and troll me, you know, that's the way it is on the internet nowadays. But regardless, comment. I'll be happy to reply to them and answer any questions. Or if I missed something and you will see me miss something, please comment and tell me what I missed. And because again, I'm not perfect, and if I miss something, I'm doing this to help you guys out. You know, show you guys how to do things, and or you know, so that's what I think is awesome about YouTube is, you know, we can share what we're doing, what we're building, and then share information to help you guys with your builds. And sometimes there might be something that you think would have been done better if I would have done it this way. Please comment on that and suggest it because, you know, again, I'm all up for learning. I'm always learning myself. So, in fact, the moment that we stop learning, well, you're a liar because we're always learning. So if you say you can't learn anything, well, you got an issue. But anyways, enough of me rambling on. I'm going to call it a night and go have a beer. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.